The brain enjoys problem solving so much, we do it for fun. Think about the anatomy of problems and how humans view problems. I think it's very interesting. So now that we have an understanding for this kind of primal drive for problems that humans have, you can use this to your advantage. You know, this book, in this chapter is really written for complainers. And once you understand that, what you will not do is start an argument with your spouse, for example, just so that you can have a problem to solve, just so that you can have some drama to solve. What we're going to discuss is how our brain views problems. Then I am going to test the GPH theory, test the good problems to have theory. And then finally, I'm going to give you some pragmatic advice on how to kind of manipulate your brain's desire for problems, so that problems are endless and they're persistent. They're a sign of life. Okay, it's impossible for you to be without problems. That's why my theory is that all problems are good problems to have. But to say that I am now problem-free is a fool's errand. You're not going to be able to achieve that. Welcome to another episode of Good Problems to Have. I am your host, David Nima. I am an attorney turned life coach, marriage coach, dating coach, and divorce coach. I'm also the author of the book, Good Problems to Have, The Anatomy of Contemporary Happiness. You can find a copy on Amazon. And on today's episode, we are going to discuss Chapter 1, which is the title of the book and also the title of Chapter 1, Good Problems to Have. So the title of this book is essentially the punchline of the entire kind of premise and reason why I decided to write this book. And I'm going to share with you kind of the basic ideas that I cover in Chapter 1 to help you have a new perspective on the problems in your life. So what we're going to discuss is how our brain views problems. Then I am going to test the GPH theory, test the good problems to have theory. And then finally, I'm going to give you some pragmatic advice on how to kind of manipulate your brain's desire for problems to have. So this chapter essentially is the basic punchline. It's the basic premise for the book. Okay. I like to say that I drafted this chapter and drafted this book really for complainers. Okay. People that like to complain about their problems. So let's talk about problems a little bit, about how kind of our brains comprehend problems. And let's then test a couple of theories that I have under the good problems to have theory. And then finally, I'm going to give you some pragmatic advice, how you can kind of satisfy your brain's desire for problems without essentially sabotaging your life. Okay, so let's get right into it. Our brains, the human brain, is uniquely attracted to problems and problem solving. Okay. And I think one premise here that I want you to adopt going forward in your life is that you are never going to be problem free. Okay. No human being that's alive has zero problems. From the moment you're born until your final moments, you will have problems. Okay. Take, for example, a newborn baby, right? Let's say a baby that's, an infant, for example, that's, in his first year of being alive. And that baby is trying to learn a variety of new skills, right? For example, it's trying to learn how to talk and it's trying to learn how to walk. Now, for anybody who doesn't know how to walk and is trying to learn how to walk, you can characterize that as a major problem, right? It's a big problem. But of course, the baby or anyone that's doing it is enjoying learning the skill, doing trial and error, and solving this problem. And in the baby example, the parents, they're not worried for the baby that it has this problem. The parents are proud of the baby. The parents are celebrating that their baby is now kind of tackling this problem, which is of learning how to walk. So in that case, the baby's problem of not knowing how to walk is a good problem to have. Okay? Problems are endless and they're persistent. They're a sign of life. Okay. It's impossible for you to be without problems so long as you're alive. Now, when we talk about if you want to think about the anatomy of problems and how humans view problems, I think it's very interesting. Humans are the only species on the planet that have a very large prefrontal cortex that's dedicated to problem solving. Okay, we have the largest prefrontal cortex of the entire animal kingdom, and therefore we are by nature the smartest animals on the planet. And what I mean by the smartest is our ability to solve problems. We are the most logical and, like I said, kind of problem-solving species on the planet. Now, of course, we've used our problem-solving capabilities to rule the planet, right? We're not the strongest, we're not the fastest, and we can't necessarily survive in some environments that other animals can survive. However, our problem-solving capabilities have enabled us to create weapons, to create shelter, right? So that we can navigate the world, essentially, and rule the world, despite not being the fastest or strongest animals in the world, okay? So our kind of problem-solving brain has been tremendously advantageous to our survival as a species on planet Earth. But here's another example of why we love problem solving so much. I mean, humans love problem solving so much, we even do it as a hobby. We do it for leisure and entertainment. Throughout history, humans have been kind of attending gladiator games or going to the theater or reading stories, right? And imagining kind of hypothetical problems to solve. Watching reading mystery novels, for example, in modern days. Solving a puzzle, okay? All of these are leisurely activities that are based in problem solving. And the human brain enjoys problem solving. The brain enjoys problem solving so much, we do it for fun. We do it for fun. When you're watching a mystery movie on Netflix, you're enjoying kind of trying to figure out who the bad guy is, okay, before the end of the movie. And that's why dramas and mystery movies are so popular as a source of entertainment, for example. So, you know, the human brain is uniquely designed to seek out problems to solve. Okay, so when you think of it that way, coupled with the fact that you will never be without problems. I mean, literally, your brain will create a new problem just so it can solve it. That's why my theory is that all problems are good problems to have. Sure, various problems vary in their degree of severity, for example, right? Having the problem of having, a fly in my glass of water, for example, is much different than having a substantial health problem. Nevertheless, I would look at both of those people and I would say, you are blessed to be alive and to have this problem. Okay. Some of this kind of ideology is related to other idioms that you may have heard, other popular sayings that go around, things like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, for example, or it could always be worse, for example. And that's essentially good problems to have is on the same spectrum there in terms of kind of the messaging that it's trying to deliver. But it really cuts to the core to say that if you are alive to complain about a problem, you should be grateful that you're alive. And therefore, it's a good problem to have. Okay. So that, you have to, I think it's very helpful for you to understand that your brain will literally create problems when there's no problems to solve. Right? You will always have problems. You will always have challenges. Okay, you're never going to be able to, like you maybe want to, but you're not going to be able to just kind of sit back, relax, and say, I have zero problems. I think you can sit back and relax and say, I've got all my problems under control, and I'm grateful for the problems that I have. But to say that I am now problem-free is a fool's errand. You're not going to be able to achieve that. It is not an obtainable goal, and anyone's trying to help you eliminate your problems, I think is taking you down the wrong path. Okay, your brain will eventually seek out a new problem to solve. So now that we have an understanding for this kind of primal drive for problems that humans have, you can use this to your advantage by being a little bit more selective about the problems that you kind of seek out in your life. And what this does is that it helps you kind of not be creating problems randomly and potentially getting into self-sabotage, right? So for example, to feed your primal urge for problem solving, you can start a new business, take on a new project, solve a puzzle, right? Play a game, right? Online, or play a board game, for example, right? There's a lot of activities that you can engage in that include a version of problem solving. Okay, and some of those are leisurely activities, some of them can be hobbies, some of them can actually be tasks that you have to take on, for example, home improvement. So there are things that you can do so that you can essentially take off that problem solving urge in your brain. And once you understand that, what you will not do is start an argument with your spouse, for example, just so that you can have a problem to solve, just so that you can have some drama to solve. Another way to kind of satisfy the primal urge for problem solving is playing sports. Playing sports, even listening to music, takes off the various parts of the brain that's responsible for kind of constructing and organizing information. And you're going to be getting your licks off, so to speak, without the need to, like I said, do personal self-sabotage just so you can have a problem, right? And I think another kind of angle here in terms of self-sabotage is that some people go and create problems just so they can come and talk about it with somebody, right? They go and they seek out problems in their lives just so that they can complain about them and get attention from others, okay? And I think this perspective of good problems to have helps you personally not be using problems as a way of attention seeking, but also, view other people's problems with sympathy and compassion, but not this kind of feeling of despair that some people make it out to be. Okay, we all have problems, and for all of us uniquely, these problems are of severe magnitude, and they're important problems, personally. But they're also all good problems to have. And that's a little bit about the chapter 1 of the book, Good Problems to Have, the central premise for the entire kind of philosophy behind GPH. So I encourage you to take a look at it. I am your host, David Nima, on the Good Problems to Have podcast. I'm also the author of the book, Good Problems to Have, The Anatomy of Contemporary Happiness. It's available on Amazon. Thank you for watching. Make sure to share GPH with your friends and family who can use more happiness in their lives. And I will see you on the next episode.